Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So I know a lot of people are starting out with their own aerial equipment at home for the first time right now. So I wanted to do a video to show you how to get started, how to understand everything that's going on, and basically just be ready to start training at home with your own equipment. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to set up all of your own equipment and be ready to start learning some new moves. So check out my channel and subscribe because I have lots of tutorials and cool stuff on there for inspiration. I'm gonna start with how to tape your hoop. This one has a very old tape on it. It's been a while since she got a new tape. So I'm gonna start by untaping her and then retaping with a new tape. Having a good tape on your hoop is super important because it's going to change how your grip feels, and you want to make sure that you're nice and comfortable with the tape that you like that is applied correctly. So first we're going to take all of the old tape off of this girl. I don't recommend taping over an old tape if you have an old tape on your hoop, just because a lot of times you're going to be able to feel the little ridges and bits that you're taping over, and it's going to end up a little bit lumpy. It can also get extra sticky that way. So I definitely, as much of a pain as this is, would recommend taking the old tape off and starting over from scratch with your new tape. Left this tape on way too long. So to tape your hoop completely, you're going to need at least two, but I prefer to have an extra as well, rolls of sports tape. This is the Mueller tape that you can get from Fire Toys. You can also get it from Amazon, eBay, like pretty much anywhere. I really like this one because it gives me a good grip and it's not too slippery. I've also bought this spun cotton type of tape in the past, but I really don't like it because you need a lot more to go around your hoop because it's narrower, and also I find it very slippery on my hands once I'm in the air. Now that my hoop is down to the metal, I'm going to start with the new tape. There are a couple of things I'm going to keep in mind. The first one is that I always want to start at the bottom and go up. I never want to start at the top and go down. This is because when you have the overlap of the tape, if you start at the top and go down, it's going to pull the tape away from itself and you're going to end up with a lot of little sticky ridges. You don't want that. So what you want to do is start at the bottom and go to the top, and then start again at the bottom and go all the way to the top. I'm going to start here and here so that I cross over a little bit at the bottom and have a nice double layer right on the very bottom of the hoop where I use my hands and my knees a lot. Because I have a double point, I'm also going to take this part. It doesn't really matter which way you go on this part. Just make sure that you don't have any edges of the tape sticking out at a weird angle. So I'm going to start a little bit past the middle, and then I'm going to go overlapping the tape. So each time I go around the hoop, I'm overlapping about half of the tape that I just put. And I'm just going to continue to do that until I reach the span set. I'm overlapping each time the row that I just did before. Also, make sure that your angle is not too steep going up like this because you'll get all these wrinkles in here. You want to keep a nice shallow angle to go around your hoop. Go around the other side, I'm just going to start again a little bit past the center and go all the way up till I reach the span set. why I like to have 3 rolls, because my hoop is 1 inch bigger. It's a custom made size because I'm really tall. It's 1 inch bigger than your standard size hoop. I didn't quite make it all the way around with 2 rolls, so I'm going to use my 3rd just to finish up this last little bit. So now that you have your hoop all taped up and ready to go, hopefully in a fun color, let's talk about all the equipment that you need to get your hoop in the air and start training. I have a double point hoop, which means I have 2 points of attachment on the top here. Most hoops that you'll see will have a single point, which is 1 point right in the middle. But I like the double point because I do a lot of contortion type moves in the air and it holds it much more steady this way. Whereas if you have a single point, you're going to have more movement like this. There are also specific moves that you do on the top that you do for double point or single point. It'll change up what moves you can do depending on what you have. What I'm about to talk about for equipment will apply to anything, double point, single point, moon, any kind of fun shape you might have. Another thing to think about when you're maybe shopping for a hoop is mine is hollow, so it's nice and light. It is easy to transport, which was a big deal for me because I use it for gigs all over the place. But you can also get solid hoops. They're going to be a lot heavier, but they're also going to be a little bit sturdier feeling when you're in the air. Here's an overview of the basic equipment you're going to need to get started. This is your basic nylon strap. It's what's going to hold up your hoop. It's a woven nylon fabric with a little bit of padding inside, and it's going to have this little join here. This is a 1 meter strap. You can also get 1.5 meters, which is this size. If you have a double point hoop, you're going to need at least 2 of these. You need 2 that are the same size for a double point hoop. If you have a single point, you can do whatever you want. I recommend, because these are not that expensive, getting a couple of different ones in a couple of different sizes, because you're going to want to be able to adjust your size if you're training in different spaces. You can also double them up. You can use them in a lot of different ways to make it exactly the right height that you want. Next up, we have the Shackle. It's a little screw piece that goes across this horseshoe shape, and it is going to hold the tab, this is the tab, of your hoop onto the nylon span set strap. So if I take my strap like this, I put the shackle around the strap, and then I put this horseshoe shape on either side of the little holes, and then I put the screw through, I tighten it up all the way so it's as tight as I can make it, and that's it. You only want to use the shackle with the tabs on the hoop unless you really need to use them for something else, because they do have a tendency to jam if they are not on the tab of the hoop. If I was using them, for example, with a carabiner, sometimes they can get jammed and then it's a pain to get them open again. These are your carabiners. You want to have at least 2 or 3 of these just to be nice and safe and make sure that you have plenty. You can never have enough carabiners. There are 2 basic types. There's this type that is the pull down and open type. The nice thing about this one is that if I pull it down and open it, it relocks itself automatically. This is the screw type, so I can screw it up to lock it or screw it down to open it. It's good to have at least 1 carabiner that is the largest possible size you can find, because sometimes, especially if you're messing around with heights, you're going to need to fit a lot of different things inside it. So it's good to have at least 1 really big one. Also, never, ever, ever, ever go up on a carabiner that is not locked. Always, always lock your carabiners, because as you can see from the weight specifications, which are right there, it will show you, this one for instance takes 25 down, 10 if you're pulling side to side, and only 7 if it's open. So that's a huge difference. You want to make sure you always have it locked and closed. You also want to make sure that it's weight tested. Anything that you buy from Fire Toys, Unicycle, any of those kind of places, specifically aerial websites, are going to be reliable, safe carabiners. Or if you go to a sports shop like Decathlon, for example, and get them in the rock climbing section, those are going to be safe carabiners. Oh, this one's from Chamonix. I worked there. This is your swivel. Your swivel is these two little pieces. They fit together and just spin off each other. This is what's going to allow you to keep spinning in one direction for your whole act and not slow down too much. What you're going to do is you're going to put one carabiner through the top of your swivel and one carabiner through the bottom of your swivel. You want to have the strap that's holding up your hoop and the swivel, and it fits together in a little chain like this. This carabiner, if you have a hook in your ceiling or whatever you're rigging from, you can hook it right onto that. Or if you're going, for instance, around a beam in your ceiling, you can hook it on, put your strap around the beam, and then hook on the other end of the loop again to this same carabiner, and you're gonna be nice and ready to get in the air. Here it is in action. You've got your hoop, then your shackles, then your strap, and then because I have very little space here, I've used shackles on the top as well. But that's really my only option because I need every centimeter in this space. If I had any more space, I would be using carabiners. Also, because I'm using one strap to cover both points of my hoop, again to save space, I have looped it through the shackle one extra time. If you go straight through without tying it around one time, you're going to pull your hoop on one side and then just go straight down. So you want to make sure that you give it a little extra loop through just to hold it steady and not let yourself pull from side to side. Of course, the final piece of the puzzle is where to hang your hoop. I have an X-Pole A-frame, which I'll probably do another video about at some point. My ceilings in here are just under 9 feet, or about 2.7 meters, I believe that is. And it fits in on its sort of medium setting with no problem, and I'm able to do actually quite a lot on it. If you're using a beam or a tree limb, please check and make sure that it is going to be able to support your weight. If you have a home or apartment where you do not have an exposed beam to hang from, I strongly recommend getting one of these instead of putting hooks directly into your ceiling, just because if you're not a professional rigger who is doing that, you don't know how much load your ceiling can bear, and I've seen a lot of screw-in hooks rip out and just drop people. So you really want to be careful with that if that's your plan, and if you can afford one of the A-frames, it is a great investment. So there you go. That should be everything you need to know to get started with your home aerial setup. Of course, there are lots of other options, really interesting things you can do, but this is the basic that will let you get started with your training. Don't forget to check out my tutorials on my channel. You can learn a lot of cool stuff for this setup, as well as performance videos, different artistic aerial projects. There's a lot of good stuff over there, so have a look. And if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, let me know. I love to hear from you guys. And if you have a move that you would like a tutorial for, also let me know, because I do take requests.